I spent 10 years building my father's construction company from the ground up. Started at 18 working as a grunt on job sites, learning every single aspect of the trade. By 28, I was running operations, managing crews, landing big contracts. My dad always said the business would be mine someday. Then my 22-year-old brother walked through the door, and everything I had worked for began crumbling. What happened next taught me the hardest lesson about family loyalty and knowing when to walk away. Before we get into how everything fell apart, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your location in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe if you have not already. Trust me, you will want to see how a family business can crumble when pride gets in the way of common sense. Now let me tell you what happened when my dad decided blood was thicker than competence. Let me paint you a picture of what we had built. My father, Gerald, started this construction company 35 years ago with nothing but a used pickup truck and a toolbox. By the time I came along, it had grown into something real. We had about 20 employees, handled residential builds and commercial remodeling projects all over the county. Nothing huge, but solid, reliable work that kept families fed and roofs over heads. I came into this business the day I turned 18. No college for me. I wanted to work with my hands, build things that lasted. Started at the absolute bottom, carrying lumber mixing, concrete, learning to read blueprints by studying them during lunch breaks. My dad never gave me special treatment because I was his son. If anything, he pushed me harder. I respected that. It made me better. By the time I hit 23, I was running job sites. By 25, I was operations manager, handling everything from scheduling crews to managing budgets, dealing with difficult clients, navigating the nightmare of permits and inspections. I lived and breathed that company. 80-hour weeks were normal for me. I knew every supplier by name, every crew member's strengths and weaknesses, every client's quirks and preferences. Last year alone, we increased revenue by 35%. I landed 3 major commercial contracts that put us on the map with bigger developers. My dad would clap me on the shoulder and say, "This will all be yours someday, son. You have earned it." Those words meant everything to me. I was not just building a business. I was building my future, my legacy. Then came the family meeting that changed everything. It was a Tuesday morning, early March. My dad called me into his office before the crew arrived. He had that look on his face, the one he got when he was about to say something he knew I would not like but had already decided was happening regardless. "Nicholas, your brother is going to start working with us," he said, not looking directly at me. "He needs direction, and you are the perfect person to show him the ropes." Devin, my younger brother by 6 years, 22 years old, and had not held a job longer than 6 months his entire adult life. Dropped out of college in his junior year, moved back home, spent his days gaming and his nights partying. I loved him because he was my brother, but I had no illusions about his work ethic. Still, I wanted to be supportive. Maybe this was exactly what Devin needed. Structure, purpose, a real opportunity to prove himself. "Sure, Dad," I said. "What role are you thinking for him?" My father waved his hand vaguely. "We will figure it out. Just get him started, teach him the basics." That vague answer should have been my first warning sign. When I pressed for specifics about what Devin's responsibilities would be, Dad just said, "You are good at this stuff. I trust your judgment." Looking back, I realized my father did not have a plan. He just wanted his younger son off the couch and hoped the rest would work itself out. Devin's first day arrived. I got to the office at 6:30 a.m., like always. Had his orientation materials ready, a simple schedule planned to ease him in. 6:30 became 7, then 7:30. Devin finally rolled in at 7:45, wearing basketball shorts and a wrinkled t-shirt, carrying a gas station coffee. Morning, he mumbled, not apologizing for being late. I bit back my frustration. First day jitters, I told myself. We would work on punctuality. I started him simple. Organizing our tool inventory, learning equipment, names and purposes, basic safety protocols, stuff any entry-level worker could handle. Within an hour, Devin was on his phone scrolling through social media. When I asked him to put it away, he sighed like I was the unreasonable one. "This is boring, man," he said. "When do I get to do real work?" "This is real work," I told him. "Everyone starts here." I did. He rolled his eyes but pocketed the phone. For about 20 minutes. Then, it was back out again. By midweek, I was getting complaints from the crew. I had asked Devin to verify a lumber delivery check the quantities against our order sheet. Simple task. He forgot completely. Our crew showed up at the job site and had to wait 2 hours for materials because nobody had confirmed the delivery. 2 hours of paid labor sitting idle. That cost us real money and made us look unprofessional to the client. I pulled Devin aside. "You cannot forget things like this. People are counting on you." "Sorry," he said, but his tone suggested he was not sorry at all. "You did not explain it clearly enough." That should have been red flag number 2. Not taking responsibility, deflecting blame. I promised myself I would be patient. He would learn. He just needed time. By the end of his first week, Devin had not completed a single task fully. He left early every single day, always with some excuse. Dentist appointment, car trouble, not feeling well. Meanwhile, I was staying late, covering his incomplete work, redoing inventory counts. He had messed up apologizing to crew members who were getting frustrated. But I kept telling myself it would get better. Family helps family right, that is what my dad always taught us. I had no idea how much worse it was about to get. Week 3 brought the first major disaster. I made the mistake of trusting Devin with a straightforward responsibility. We needed to order materials for a kitchen remodel, a repeat client we had worked with for years. I gave Devin the specifications, the supplier's contact information, even a checklist of exactly what to order. Somehow, he managed to order the wrong type of tiles. Not just wrong color, completely wrong dimensions. The kind of mistake that showed he had not even glanced at the specifications. When the materials arrived, our crew could not use them. We had to reorder, eating the cost of the wrong tiles because the supplier would not take them back since it was our error, not theirs. $5,000 down the drain. The client was furious about the delay, and I spent an entire afternoon apologizing and offering a discount to keep them from walking. When I confronted Devin about it, you know what he said. "You did not explain clearly enough." The form was confusing. I had literally given him a checklist, step-by-step instructions. There was nothing confusing about it. He just had not paid attention. That night I worked until 11 p.m., fixing the order, coordinating a rush delivery, rearranging the crew schedule. My phone would not stop buzzing with annoyed texts from the team. They were professionals who took pride in their work, and Devin's incompetence was making us all look bad. Week 4, Devin simply did not show up for 2 days. No call, no text, nothing. I found out later he had told my dad he had dental appointments. Funny thing though, his Instagram showed pictures of him at some beach party 3 hours away. When I checked his location tags, the dates matched his absences exactly. I was covering his responsibilities, doing my own job, plus his non-existent contribution, and he was partying. My resentment was building, but I kept my mouth shut. I went to my father instead. I found Dad in his office going over invoices. "We need to talk about Devin," I said, closing the door behind me. My father looked up, and I could already see the defensiveness in his eyes. He knew what was coming. "What about him?" I laid it out factually. The missed days, the costly mistakes, the complaints from crew members, the impact on team morale. I was not emotional about it. Just facts. Numbers. Consequences. Dad leaned back in his chair. "He just needs time to adjust, Nicholas. You were not perfect when you started either." That comparison stung because it was so unfair. "I was never late," I said carefully. "I never cost us thousands of dollars. I never missed work to go party and lie about it." "He is your brother," Dad said, like that explained everything. "I need you to be patient and really teach him. Maybe you should spend more one-on-one time with him. Show him the ropes properly." I wanted to argue that I had been teaching him, that Devin was not interested in learning, but I could see my father's mind was made up. He genuinely believed this was a teaching problem, not an effort problem. "Fine," I said. "I will try harder." So I did. Every morning I carved out 30 minutes before the crew arrived to give Devin focused training. I created detailed checklists for every task. I brought him to job sites, explaining each phase of construction, showing him how to read blueprints, how to calculate materials, how to communicate with subcontractors. I made training videos he could reference. I did everything except do the work for him. And it made zero difference. He would nod along during training, seem to understand, and then forget everything by the next day. I taught him how to read blueprints one week. The following week, he looked at the same type of blueprint like he had never seen one before in his life. I drilled safety protocols into him. Next day, he showed up on a job site without his hard hat, no safety goggles, walking around like regulations were suggestions. Then came the incident that could have gotten someone killed. I found Devin operating a forklift on one of our warehouse sites. He did not have certification, had not even been through basic training. He was just messing around and nearly dropped a pallet of materials on one of our longtime crew members. 2 days later, an OSHA inspector showed up for a random check. Pure bad luck. They found several violations, mostly related to safety equipment that Devin had been too lazy to use properly. We got a warning and a fine. My pristine safety record, built over 10 years, tarnished because my brother could not be bothered to follow basic rules. I was furious, but I kept it together. I pulled Devin aside and explained very calmly how serious this was, how people could get hurt, how we could lose our license to operate. He shrugged. "You are being dramatic. Nothing happened." That attitude, that complete lack of understanding of consequences, should have told me everything, but I still believed I could get through to him. Then Devin went to my father and complained that I was not giving him real responsibilities, that I was keeping him stuck doing grunt work, that I was being too strict and not letting him learn management skills. My dad called me that evening. "Why are you only giving him basic tasks? He needs to learn the business side too, management, client relations." I could not believe what I was hearing. "Dad, he has not mastered the basics. You do not promote someone who cannot handle simple responsibilities to management." "Maybe you are not the right teacher," Dad said. "Maybe you are too hard on him. Too much like me. He might need a gentler approach." Too hard on him. I was too hard on him for expecting him to show up on time and not cost us money. The unfairness of it hit me like a punch to the gut. Every mistake I covered, for every extra hour I worked, every patient explanation I gave, all of it dismissed because Devin went crying to Dad about mean older brother Nicholas not handing him a management position he had not earned. I hung up that night feeling more alone than I had in years. I was holding this company together and nobody seemed to notice or care, but I still was not ready to walk away. Not yet. 2 months after Devin started, my father called a company meeting. Full staff, everyone gathered in our main office. I assumed it was about a new project or maybe a safety briefing after the OSHA incident. Instead, my dad stood up and announced, "I am promoting Devin to assistant project manager. He will be working alongside Nicholas to oversee our current projects." The room went silent. I could feel every eye turning toward me, watching for my reaction. I kept my face neutral, but inside I was screaming. Assistant project manager. A position that required years of experience, deep knowledge of construction, proven leadership ability. And Dad was handing it to someone who had been here 2 months and could barely remember to show up on time. "Dad," I said carefully, trying to keep my voice professional in front of the crew, "can we discuss this privately first?" "There is nothing to discuss," he said. "This is my decision. Devin is family. He deserves a chance to prove himself at a higher level. You will support this, Nicholas." The crew members exchanged uncomfortable glances. They knew this was insane. Some of them had been with us for 8-10 years. They had earned their positions through hard work and competence. And here was Devin leapfrogging over all of them because of his last name. After the meeting, 3 separate crew members pulled me aside. "This is not right," one of them said. Marcus, who had been with us 8 years, was particularly blunt. "We respect you, Nicholas, but we did not sign up to work under someone who does not know what he is doing. If this goes bad, we are out." I tried to reassure them. I tried to convince them that I would keep things running smoothly. But even as I said the words, I knew I could not make that promise. I could not be everywhere. And now Devin had authority to make decisions that could affect everyone. The first week of Devon's promotion proved every fear correct. He immediately started throwing his weight around, giving orders to crew members who had forgotten more about construction than he would ever know. He changed work schedules without consulting me, creating chaos and confusion. He overrode my material orders, choosing cheaper, inferior products because he did not understand that quality mattered. He made promises to clients about timelines that were physically impossible to meet. The crew members came to me constantly. "We cannot work like this," they said. "He is going to get someone hurt or ruin our reputation." I was caught in an impossible position. I had authority on paper, but my father had undermined it by promoting Devon. If I contradicted Devon's orders, I looked like I was sabotaging my own brother. If I let his bad decisions stand, the company suffered. Then 2 of our best crew members, guys who had been with us for years, walked into my office and quit. They were respectful about it. They thanked me for everything I had taught them. But they said they could not work for a company that valued family politics over competence and safety. I begged them to stay. Literally begged. Promised I would fix things, find a solution. They were sympathetic, but firm. "Nicholas, you are not the problem. But you also are not able to fix this. Your dad has made his choice. We are making ours." After they left, I sat in my office with my head in my hands. This was falling apart, and I was powerless to stop it. But the real breaking point was still coming. We had just landed a major commercial project, a full restaurant remodel worth $300,000. This was the kind of contract that could set us up for even bigger opportunities. The client was well-connected, the kind of person whose recommendation could open doors all over the region. I carefully planned every phase of the project, assigned specific responsibilities to each team member based on their strengths. For Devon, I gave him one small, manageable task: coordinate with the plumber and electrician to make sure they showed up on the right days at the right times. That was it. Just scheduling, making sure our subcontractors were aligned with our timeline. Devon forgot to schedule the electrician. Completely forgot. We had the walls open, the crew ready to move forward, and no electrician. We lost 2 full weeks on the project because we could not proceed without the electrical work being completed first. The client was furious, threatening to sue us for breach of contract and damages. I worked 20-hour days trying to salvage the situation. Called in favors, paid premium rates to get an electrician on an emergency basis, personally oversaw every remaining phase to make sure nothing else went wrong. I met with the client, apologized, profusely offered a significant discount, promised we would deliver quality work despite the delay. The client agreed not to sue, but his final words chilled me. "This is your last chance. One more screw-up and we are done, and I will make sure everyone in this industry knows about it." That mistake cost us $20,000 between the penalties and the discount I had to offer. $20,000 because Devon could not make 2 phone calls. I was done. I had reached my breaking point. I went to my father's office and closed the door behind me. "Dad, we need to talk. Now." He looked up from his paperwork, already defensive. "What is it?" I laid everything out. Every mistake Devon had made. Every dollar lost. Every employee who had left or was considering leaving. The near lawsuit that I had barely prevented. I spoke calmly, factually, backing up every claim with documentation. "Devon needs to step back," I concluded. "Let him learn from the ground up properly like I did. Or put him in a different department somewhere. He cannot damage client relationships or endanger workers. But he cannot be in project management. He is not ready." My father's face hardened. "You are being too harsh. Everyone makes mistakes, Nicholas. That is how people learn. Not mistakes that cost us clients and employees." My calm cracked. "Dad, I have been covering for him for months. I have been working double shifts fixing his screw-ups. I have begged good workers to stay when they wanted to leave because of him. At what point do you acknowledge that this is not working? Maybe you are jealous," Dad said, and the accusation hit me like a slap. "Maybe you think I am giving him special treatment and you cannot stand it." Jealous. I stared at him, unable to believe what I was hearing. I have been breaking my back for this company for 10 years. I turned down job offers from bigger firms because I believed in what we were building here. How dare you say I am jealous? And I appreciate everything you have done, Dad said, but his tone suggested he did not appreciate it at all. But Devin is your brother. I need you to train him properly. Be more patient. Make this work. I have been patient. For 2 months, I have been more patient than any normal employer would ever be. But Dad, he does not want to learn. He wants shortcuts. He wants the title and the authority without putting in the work. My father stood up, his own anger rising now. If you cannot do this one thing for your family, maybe you are not as committed as I thought. Maybe I was wrong about you being ready to take over someday. That threat hung in the air between us. 10 years of loyalty, of sacrifice, of building this company, reduced to doubt about my commitment because I would not enable my brother's incompetence. Fine, I said quietly. You want me to walk away? The door is always open, you said. But do not come back expecting things to be handed to you. He paused and then delivered the final blow. You are being ungrateful, Nicholas. After everything I have done for you. Ungrateful. I had given a decade of my life to this company. Turned it from a small operation into something that could compete with bigger firms. Sacrificed relationships, weekends, holidays, all for this business. And I was ungrateful because I would not watch it be destroyed by nepotism. I left his office without another word. Drove home in a daze. Sat in my apartment. All night. Staring at the walls, replaying that conversation. The more I thought about it, the clearer things became. I was not ungrateful. I was being taken for granted. There is a difference. My father valued Devin's potential, his feelings, his comfort more than my proven track record, and that was never going to change. If I stayed, I would spend the rest of my career cleaning up after my brother being blamed. When his failures became too big to ignore watching the company, I helped build crumble because my father could not admit he was wrong. I made my decision around 3 a.m. Got maybe an hour of sleep. Woke up, showered, put on my best clothes. Sat down and wrote a formal resignation letter. 2 weeks' notice, professional, courteous. Thanked my father for the opportunity and the things I had learned. Did not mention Devin or the conflict. Just stated I was pursuing other opportunities. I arrived at the office at 6 a.m., before anyone else. Printed out my letter, put it in an envelope. Waited for my father to arrive. When he walked in at 7, I followed him into his office and placed the envelope on his desk. What is this, he asked, though I think he already knew. My resignation, I said. Effective in 2 weeks. He opened it, read it, his face going pale. You are really doing this, over this. You made your choice, Dad. You have Devin now. I hope it works out the way you want it to, but I cannot be part of it anymore. You will regret this, he said, but his voice was shaking. This company needs you. You should have thought about that yesterday, I replied. The door is always open, right? I am walking through it. I turned and left his office. Walked out of the building. Got in my truck. And I did not look back. The first day after quitting felt surreal. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. out of habit. Then remembered I had nowhere to go. For the first time in 10 years, I did not have to worry about job site schedules or client calls or what disaster Devin had created overnight. The relief was overwhelming, but so was the anxiety. I had just walked away from the only career I had ever known from a business I had poured my soul into. My phone started buzzing around 7. Text messages from crew members. What happened? Are you okay? Did you really quit? I responded honestly. Yes, I had resigned. No, I was not coming back. No hard feelings, I just needed to move on. A few of them understood immediately. Marcus texted back, I get it, man. Good luck. Let me know if you land somewhere good. I might follow. That message meant more to me than he probably realized. I spent those first few days decompressing. Slept normal hours for once. Caught up on things I had been neglecting. Updated my resume. Started reaching out to contacts in the industry, letting people know I was available. The response surprised me. Apparently, my reputation was solid. Several people expressed interest in talking once they heard I had left my father's company. But I was also monitoring the situation from a distance. Old crew members kept me informed. And what I heard was not good. Day 3, Marcus called me. "Nicholas, it is absolute chaos here. 3 projects are behind schedule. Devin is trying to run things, and he has no idea what he is doing. Your dad is trying to manage everything himself, but he cannot keep up. He has been out of day-to-day operations too long. Day 5, 2 more crew members quit. Good workers, reliable guys who had stuck it out hoping things would improve. They told my father the same thing the others had. They stayed because of me. Without me, they did not see a future worth investing in." Week 2 brought worse news. The restaurant client, the one whose project Devin had nearly destroyed, canceled the remaining contract. Not only canceled, but filed a lawsuit for damages and breach of contract. The delay Devin had caused, combined with additional quality issues that came up after I left, gave them grounds to walk away and demand compensation. That lawsuit alone could have bankrupted us. I heard through the industry grapevine about other problems piling up. Our main supplier, the one we had used for 15 years, cut off our credit. Devin had forgotten to process payment invoices, leaving us with unpaid bills going back weeks. The supplier refused to extend any more materials until the debt was cleared. My father had to dip into personal savings to cover it. Week 3, the credit rating for the business took a hit. Other suppliers heard about the payment issues and got nervous. Some demanded cash up front for orders. That kind of business model is impossible in construction where cash flow depends on staged payments throughout a project. Week 4 was when everything truly collapsed. 4 crew members, essentially everyone who had stayed after the initial exodus, all quit on the same day. They went to my father together and said the same thing. We stayed because of Nicholas. He made this place worth working for. Without him, this is not the company we signed up for. My father tried to hire replacements, but word had gotten around. People knew the company was in trouble. The good workers, the ones you actually want, were not interested. The only applications he got were from people desperate enough to take any job, and even they did not stick around once they saw the dysfunction. Week 5, my phone rang. My father's number. I stared at it for a long moment before answering. "Hello, Nicholas." His voice sounded tired, defeated, older. "We need to talk." I agreed to meet him at a neutral location, a coffee shop halfway between my apartment and the office. When I walked in, I barely recognized him. In just over a month, he had aged what looked like 10 years. The confidence and authority he always carried were gone, replaced by something that looked a lot like defeat. We ordered coffee and sat down. For a minute, neither of us spoke. Finally, he said I was wrong. About everything. About Devin, about how much you were doing, about what it takes to run this business. I waited. I was not going to make this easy for him. Devin quit 3 days ago, Dad continued. Said the work was too hard, too much responsibility. He is talking about moving out of state, starting fresh somewhere else. And the business is falling apart. I have lost most of the crew, 2 major clients, and our reputation is damaged. I do not know if I can save it. He looked at me with something close to desperation. Will you come back? I will make it right this time. You can run operations your way. I will stay out of it. We can rebuild. I had thought about this moment during the past weeks. What I would say if he asked me to return. Part of me wanted to. That business was my life's work too. I had built so much of what made it successful. But I had also learned something important during my time away. I had learned what it felt like to be valued, to have my skills recognized, to not constantly fight against family politics and favoritism. Dad, I said carefully, I appreciate you saying that. I really do. But I cannot come back. Why not? There were tears in his eyes now. I am admitting I was wrong. What more do you want? It is not about what I want from you, I explained. It is about what I learned about myself. For 10 years, I gave everything to that company. I sacrificed time, relationships, opportunities, all because I believed we were building something together. But when it came down to it, when you had to choose between me and Devon, between the business and family politics, you chose wrong. And that choice showed me where I really stood. "I am sorry," he said, and I believed he meant it. "I thought I was helping your brother. I thought giving him a chance was the right thing to do as a father." "Being a good father does not mean ignoring reality," I said gently. "Devon was not ready. Maybe he will never be ready for that kind of work. And that is okay. But forcing him into a role he could not handle and expecting me to make it work, that was not fair to anyone. Not to me, not to the employees, not even to Devon. So that is it. You are just done." I nodded. 2 weeks ago, I accepted a position with Riverside Construction, senior project manager. They have been trying to recruit me for years. Better pay, better benefits, bigger projects. They approached me again when they heard I was available, and I said yes. My father's face fell. Riverside was one of our competitors. Not enemies, but definitely competition. "I understand," he said quietly. "You deserve it. I just wish I had realized what I had before I lost it." We finished our coffee in relative silence. Before we parted, he asked, "Can we still talk, not about business, just as father and son?" "Of course," I said. "I am angry, but you are still my dad. We will figure that part out." We hugged, and I could feel him shaking. It was not the ending either of us had imagined for our partnership, but it was the ending we had created through our choices. 3 months passed. I thrived at Riverside Construction. My new boss actually listened to my ideas, implemented my suggestions, trusted my judgment. The team respected me because I had earned that respect through competence, not family connections. Within 6 months, they promoted me to regional project manager, overseeing multiple large projects across 3 counties. Meanwhile, my father's business continued to struggle. He hired an outside manager to try to stabilize operations, but the damage was too extensive. They lost more clients. Had to downsize significantly. Eventually, my father made the decision to semi-retire. He sold off most of the assets, kept just enough to handle small residential projects with a skeleton crew. The dream of building a multi-generational family business died. Devon did move out of state. Last I heard, he was working in sales somewhere, doing okay. We text occasionally. Our relationship is cordial but distant. He never apologized for his role in what happened, but I do not think he fully understands it even now. My father and I rebuilt our relationship slowly. We meet for coffee every couple of weeks. Talk about life, family, everything except business. One day, about a year after I quit, he said something that stayed with me. "I understand now what I did wrong," he told me. "I thought loving my sons equally meant treating you the same, giving you the same opportunities. But equal treatment is not always fair treatment. You earned your position through years of hard work." Devon had not earned anything. I confused fairness with equality, and it cost me everything. I learned my own lessons from that experience. I spent 10 years trying to prove my worth to someone who should have already seen it. I learned that loyalty cannot be one-sided. Family is important, but self-respect matters too. I learned that walking away is not giving up or being ungrateful. Sometimes leaving is the most honest, self-respecting choice you can make. You cannot save a sinking ship when the captain keeps drilling holes in the bottom. At some point, you have to save yourself. Today, I have a career built on my own merit. My father and I have a relationship again, different than before, but honest. The business we could have built together exists only in the realm of what-ifs. Sometimes I think about what might have been if he had made different choices. But mostly I am grateful for where I ended up. The best decision is not always the easiest one. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is choose yourself when everyone expects you to sacrifice for people who do not appreciate what you are sacrificing. If you are in a position where your value is questioned daily, where your efforts are taken for granted, where politics matter more than performance, maybe it is time to ask yourself an important question. Am I ungrateful, or am I simply undervalued? Because there is a difference. And recognizing that difference might just change your life. Have you ever been in a situation where family or loyalty was used to manipulate you into accepting less than you deserved? Drop your story in the comments below. Hit that like button if this resonated with you. Subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear that choosing themselves is not selfish, it is survival. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there find the courage to value themselves the way they deserve to be valued. Take care of yourselves, and remember, your worth is not determined by people who refuse to see it.